Hello, it's just me today. I'm talking about the AI boom. So, first, there's a very interesting article on SciTech Daily about a new vaccine which has not yet made it to human trials. But this vaccine does the opposite of other vaccines. Instead of priming your immune system to respond to an attacker, it primes your immune system to ignore something and therefore treats autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis, type 1 diabetes, and Crohn's disease. It's an anti-vaccine to get your immune system to stop attacking your own healthy cells, which is the root of a whole lot of very serious diseases. And this is very exciting. Not only stops these diseases, but reverses them. So hopefully that will continue to progress through the medical system and become available for humans. COVID levels are unbelievably high. I got COVID for the third time at DEF CON, although I think I got it at B-Sides, just like I got it the second time at B-Sides. I may have to stop going to the B-Sides conferences that are too small and unsafe. But apparently the peak is really very large. They say approaching the Delta peak of late 2021. And I saw a number here where they said that 1 in 51 Americans are currently infected with COVID. 2% of everybody in America has COVID. I had no idea it was so bad, although I've heard an awful lot of people I know have COVID. So it's much worse than I thought. Although, of course, it wasn't very serious for me. I just took Paxlovid and I was okay in a brief period of time. But the problem is you have a chance of long COVID or some kind of permanent damage every time you take it, every time you get it. And I saw a post on Mastodon from someone working at a healthcare clinic, and they say the doctors and nurses have not been wearing masks. And they said everybody who catches COVID 5 times vanishes. They either are disabled or they quit and find another profession to work in. So, I think you don't want to casually get it over and over, although a lot of people do, and I guess I'm approaching that level myself. So far, I don't seem to have gained a permanent disablement, but that is a possibility. All right. Now, I was pretty upset to see this. At Business Times has an article that says China sows disinformation about Hawaii fires. So China used to just be an economic competitor with America, and they would come and steal our intellectual property, and they would clone our companies and make it very difficult for any of our businesses to make any money over there. So we were sort of used to that level of sort of unethical, abusive competition, but the economies of China and America are so linked. It always seemed like we were not openly hostile, trying to tear each other down, but now they seem to be imitating Russia. They are spreading disinformation about the wildfires in Hawaii just to hurt America, which is what Russia did. Now, Russia believes that they are spreading a system which is sort of with religious fervor. They're spreading their concept of whatever it is now, communism or something, and that they need to tear down the concept of democracy in order to hold up their system. And apparently, Xi in China now believes the same thing, that simply harming America benefits him. Before, it was stealing valuable stuff from America will make money from us, which is a lesser sort of crime, in my opinion, than just sort of trying to destroy our system. But now they just seem to be trying to stoke division and destroy our system. China stood on the sidelines in 2016 and 2020. And that's when I thought there was a significant difference. The Russians deliberately meddled with our internal elections, which they've done in many countries, trying to push Trump. And now they're very much trying to push Trump again. Vladimir Putin recently endorsed Trump and also praised Elon Musk. These characters in America help destroy America, and that Russia sees that as a benefit by spreading their system of socialism, or whatever lies they're calling it. It's just a dictatorship. And apparently China now has the same attitude, that simply destroying America would be to their benefit, which is very disturbing. And I'm afraid reinforces what I'm hearing a whole lot of analysts say, is that China is our number one enemy, and they really are an enemy now. They're not just a competitor. I really don't want to see a war with China, but it's getting more and more hostile. And Reuters has an article talking about that says upheavals in Xi's world spread concerns about China's diplomacy. pointing out, there's serious upheavals inside China. Xi's power is threatened, and now people have begun to vanish. China's defense minister just vanished. This is again sounding more like Putin, where government officials near the leader just vanish, or in Russia, they push them out windows or poison them or something just to get rid of them. So all of this fits, unfortunately, a trend that I've seen coming for many years, just from pure economics. China had the fastest growth rate in the world, something like 8 or 10% per year for decades, and now it has suddenly screeched to a halt and even gone backwards. So that's the kind of thing that makes people inside your country freak out and say something is terribly wrong here, the government is wrong, everything must be wrong, our leader must be terrible, because we expect to see this huge economic growth and we're not seeing it anymore. So he'll have serious threats to his power, and apparently Xi's response is to fight with America and fight with Taiwan, basically in order to distract his people. And I suppose to serve as an example, showing how anybody who questions my will or pushes an alternative system that would weaken my power gets crushed like a bug. So that should be a signal to all the people competing with me that they dare not mess with me. So it's going to get worse before it gets better, I'm afraid. And then I got a lot of AI articles. Bird Buddy is an AI bird feeder where you have a camera on your bird feeder, it takes pictures, and now they're letting everybody install the app and look at other people's bird feeders. You can just watch and see the things that capture there. So that sounds pretty charming. I haven't tried it yet because you have to do it on a phone, but it sounds like fun. And Agility Robotics has now made a factory to manufacture thousands of humanoid robots that just look sort of like characters from science fiction, simple robots with claws for hands. And they say they'll put them in, they should use them in factories and everywhere. They think everyone should start buying these robotic co-workers. And when they ask, isn't that going to put people out of a job? They say, actually, you can't find people. Everyone's trying to hire all over the place and they can't find enough workers for them. So right now, it's not an issue of putting people out of a job. It's an issue of fulfilling a need. We'll see. And that gets me to the AI Heretic, which is an article on Business Insider, very interesting. And this is, now there's a truism, which I've probably said and is generally believed in Silicon Valley, that all you have to do is have more technology, more technological improvements, and that will make us all richer as we can make, more cars and more houses and everything. And that the rising tide will lift all boats. And what this guy analyzed historical technological revolutions and said that is not true. And from what I understand, the essence of the argument is when you have a technological improvement, what tends to happen is a small group of powerful elites take all the money and the poor get nothing, and it just makes society worse. And I must say that's certainly what's been happening in America. I hear what the car workers strike, auto workers, pointing out, just a few decades ago, the CEO of a company only made like 30 times as much as a worker. Now they make 300 or 600 times as much. So and in the pandemic, the billionaires doubled and tripled their money while everybody else got nothing. So this is, I think, the natural evolution of a society. You get a sort of nobility that's rich, and they use their power to grab more and more and more, and then they corrupt the government and lower the taxes and everything, which certainly what's been happening like crazy in America, where the rich just get richer, and the poor get poorer, until there is something to reverse that. And I must say, historically, it's usually a violent revolution when the poor, like in the French Revolution, rise and just kill the rich. I hope we can avoid that in America, but we certainly need an adjustment. And what we need is something like we can return to a progressive tax structure where the rich pay more taxes. We need to break up monopolies and things like that. But the problem is our system is so corrupt that the rich are paying for lobbyists and to bribe our government leaders into not doing any of that. And it's been quite effective. So we will see what happens. But he has a very fair statement. Simply having a technology like AI, which will create enormous wealth, enormous productivity, doesn't mean it will benefit society as a whole unless those benefits are distributed. to a large number of the people. And certainly the American system now seems very much oriented to take all the gains and funnel it to the ultra rich. However, I must say, in my little world, I continue to believe that what I'm doing is the right thing, because the best thing for students and tech workers in this area is to learn AI quickly in order to be able to get a share of this. So, I'm not an economist or government person qualified to rate the future of society as a whole. But for people who want to go to college and learn something about tech, I think the best thing you do is learn tech fast, especially learn AI fast. That's where the jobs are going to be. So in my little world, where my main concern is just to try to help my students get better jobs, I'm learning AI and helping this along is the right move. And I don't think holding back the development of AI would improve society. I think what would improve society is restructuring the tax code, increasing the social safety net, basically moving towards more socialism like the FDR's New Deal. That's what we need. All right. And then there's a few more articles about AI. There's a Semaphore article by Louise Matsakis talking about a Princeton researchers calling out AI snake oil. And, you hear, just like when the internet was new, everybody would just call their companies a web company just to get money. There's now people selling fake AI products. And the ones they talk about here are the ones that try to affect humans directly, like AI hiring tools, which screen people with questions like, do you keep your desk clean, and then analyze their facial expression and voice. And what they say is there's no evidence that any of these things actually work. And a whole lot of products are just being manufactured and pushed out to people using AI just as a buzzword to get money without actually doing something that is clearly going to work, which sounds reasonable. And that's part of any tech boom. You get the pretenders on the side, and perhaps people who sincerely believe they can accomplish something magical with the new technology that doesn't work. That's just the hype. And remember when Elon Musk signed that letter a few months ago saying everybody should stop developing AI for 6 months so we have a chance to put in government regulation? It sounded bogus, and it is bogus. Tesla has developed a Dojo supercomputer just to train AI to replace self-driving with a completely AI solution, and it's greatly increased their stock value. They're considered to be a leader now. So I think it is exactly what the cynical people said at the time. The only reason Elon Musk wants other people to stop for 6 months is so he can catch up, not to actually stop the development. I think just because he just wants more for himself. And that seems very clear. And anyway, it does also suggest that Tesla is going to make even more money and grow even faster if they become a provider of AI training services for other companies to train in visual-based AI. And so that probably is a very wise diversification for his company from viewpoint of making money. And Google Bard's chatbot, which I've been using more and more in class, I'm getting used to using it instead of Google search. You just ask Bard to answer a question. And now it's going to be able to look through your Gmail, your documents, and your Drive, supposedly only if you allow this. I haven't tried this yet, but the first thing that occurs to me, I've even got an automatic message in my Gmail now warning everybody that if you send me Gmail, I'm likely to not see it. Over the last couple of years, my Gmail has become almost worthless. I get a lot of spam. The spam filters throw away a lot of good stuff. And even when I get stuff, people will tell me I emailed you something. And if they emailed me like 2 days ago, I can search in vain through Gmail. I can never find it. Unless they will tell me a keyword that I can find in the subject line, the odds are less than 50% that I will ever find the email you sent me 2 days ago. It's crazy. So maybe if Bard was looking through my email, I might be able to actually find the emails. I don't know. It's possible. But I've heard that the younger generation doesn't even use email at all, and I'm pretty close to that myself. It's just extremely useless. Mastodon is effective the way Twitter used to be, and people who come to my Twitch stream and talk to me directly can reach me. But and I have Signal, and that works because they are not full of like advertisers spamming me. But email is just like wandering through a field full of junk trying to find something you lost that got sent to the dump. It's essentially a useless way of communicating. Anyway, That's all I had to tell you today, and there'll be another one of these on Friday.